Hi everyone, this is CA Akshay Nagpal, and today we are going to discuss about salient features of LLP audit. This is a very easy chapter, and this forms part of your company audit syllabus. But many people fear this chapter because they don't know this forms part of your company audit chapter. All right, so they just leave this chapter, and some MCQ question or subjective question can come from this chapter as well. There was an MCQ in November, I guess, and then many people thought that this does not form part of your chapter, but this was there. This was very much there, and I'm gonna cover it today. So yes, let's begin. This is gonna take like 10 to 15 minutes maximum. So let's start and let's finish it. All right. So this salient features of LLP audit, we have divided into 5 points basically. 4 points are really important, and fifth point is going to be from the notes that is given in your study material. So yes, we'll do that from there. And yes, let's begin. So first point is about the two forms that are required to be submitted by the LLP to the registrar. First form being form number 11, that is about annual return, and which needs to be submitted within 60 days from the close of financial year. And the second form is about form number 8, which is about statement of accounts and solvency. So an LLP need to submit a statement of accounts and solvency. Solvency, why? Because they need to prove to a registrar that they are very much solvent. So this needs to be submitted within 30 days from the end of 6 months of financial year. All right. So let's read it again. Form number 11, that is annual return form, which needs to be submitted within 60 days from the end of financial year. Financial year means 31st March. All right. And within 60 days, that is 30th May of next financial year, form number 11 need to be submitted. All right. Now let's talk about form number 8 timeline. So it needs to be submitted within 30 days from the end of 6 months of the financial year. Financial year means 31st March. Within 6 months, 6 months means 30th September, and 30 days from the 6 months, that is 30th October, is the last date when form number 8 needs to be submitted by the LLP to the registrar. So form number 11, 60 days from the close of financial year, that is 30th May, and form number 8, 30 days from the end of 6 months of financial year. And the answer here will be 30th October. So remember that. All right. And MCQ can come from this, but you need to be prepared at all times. All right. So next point is about the LLP audit, which is contained in rule number 24 of LLP rules 2009. And here many people gets confused between this because of this point. And all right. So what we'll do is I have basically converted the language that is given in your study material to an easy one. In your study material, it is given that if turnover is up to certain amount, or if contribution is up to certain amount, then there need not be any audit. All right. I have converted that language in a different term where I said that if turnover is more than 40 lakhs and plus both conditions need to be satisfied. If turnover is more than 40 lakhs and if contribution is more than 25 lakhs in any financial year, then the LLP need to be get audited. Then the LLP needs to be get audited. All right. So these are the two limits that you need to remember, that if turnover is more than 40 lakhs or if contribution is more than 25 lakh, and yaad rakhna plus. All right. So and contribution here means sales minus fixed cost. I hope you have read it in your SCMPE chapter. All right. So yes, these two conditions need to be satisfied in order for LLP to get itself audited. And the second point, if neither of the conditions is satisfied, then the partner can get the LLP audited without any condition. All right, without any criteria approved. So that's the second point. Second point, you can also put it in these terms, that if turnover is up to 40 lakhs or contribution is up to 25 lakhs, then no audit is required. All right. But here we said that if both the condition is satisfied, then only audit is required. All right. So I hope you understood this point. Now let's get to the third point, which talks about the mandatory insurance. So LLP Act does not make it mandatory for the LLP to get itself insured, but there is a reason behind that, because LLP can be small or LLP can be big. So just to shed off some burden from the small LLPs, it is not mandatory for the LLP to get itself insured because of LLP Act. But the other acts, for example, a big company, a big LLP uh, does some business for which it requires to get insured under some other provisions, then they are very much required to get themselves insured, but not because of LLP Act. It will be because of the other acts that will be applicable for that particular transaction. All right. Now let's talk about the fourth point, which talks about the power of registrar. It says that registrar can obtain the information from anyone, like from designated partner, from partners, or from employees as well, and they can summon them, and they can inspect if information is not provided. So these are the 3 points which talks about the power of registrar. And for other points, and the first 4 points that we have read are the most important one, and there were limits that we have understood. So if all those 4 points are understood by you, then you can easily get the marks that you deserve. All right. LLP audit does not ask other than these questions, but for the safety sake, we will cover all the other provisions as well. So let's get to the notes. All right. Yes. So page number 5.74 of your company audit chapter contains the provisions about LLP audit. And first point is about the annual accounts, to maintain the annual accounts, which reflects the true and fair view of your statement of state of affairs, and a statement of accounts and solvency, which was given in your form number 8. All right. In prescribed form, that is form number 8, shall be filed by every LLP with the registrar every year. What was the time limit? The time limit was, yes, I guess you're right, 30 days from the end of 6 months of the financial year, that is 30th October. All right. So, and the accounts of every LLP shall be audited in accordance with rule number 24 of LLP rules 2009. So it talks about two things, that if the contribution is up to 25 lakhs or the turnover is up to 40 lakhs, then they need not get the LLP audited. But either of the conditions, if both of the conditions are satisfied, that is turnover is more than 40 lakhs and contribution is more than 25 lakhs, then they need to get themselves audited. So you can read this from here. Now it talks about the no mandatory insurance. It just explains why why the LLP Act make an exception for the audit for the insurance to be done. So you can read it here. And the fifth point is about every LLP would be required to file annual return in form number 11, that we have already read. The annual return in your form number 11 within 60 days from the end of financial year, and the statement of accounts and solvency about in 30 days, within 30 days from the end of 6 months of the financial year. So you can read it here. All right. Now the power of registrar that we have already read. It talks about the information that they can collect from the designated partner, from the partner, from the employees of the LLP. It all talks about that. And he would also have the power to summon any designated partner or employee. Summoning power, here it is. All right. And the following documents that can be asked for inspection. It talks about the inspection, that if they did not get the information, in case the information has not been furnished, then they can also inspect. All right. And the documents that can be inspected is incorporation document. I least expect these type of questions. The main questions that can be asked was from the limit that we have already studied. I'll repeat. All right. Incorporation document can be inspected, name of partners and changes, if any, and the statement of accounts and solvency and annual return. Statement of account and solvency in which form? Form number 8. And annual return, form number 11. All right. And there is some fees that needs to be charged while inspection. No need to learn that. And the provisions of the Act require LLP to file the documents like statement of account and solvency and annual return. I really think these are not the type of question that I can expect, but you should read it once for your satisfaction that the study material covers it and you have covered it. All right. So we'll read it once and then we'll wind up the session. All right. So yes, the provisions of the Act requires LLPs to file the documents like statement of account and solvency, form number 8, annual return, form number 11, and notices in respect of changes among partners. if there is a changes in partnership, and if there is changes in profit sharing ratio for that matter. So they'll have to uh, the LLP need to submit the documents to the registrar, all right, within the time specified indicated in relevant provisions. Again, we can revise form number 8, that is solvency statement, within 30 days from the end of 6 months from the financial year. And about form number 11, within 30 days, within 60 days from the end of financial year, 30th May and 30th October. Just remember that. All right. And the Act contains provisions for allowing LLPs to file such documents after their due date. This is about the penalty section and the prosecution section. It tells us that the additional fees can be laid down the due date, then it's okay. If it surpasses the due date and within 300 days it submits, LLP submits within 300 days from the end of due date, then there will be additional fees only. All right. And if it surpasses the 300 days as well, then prosecution can be done. It just says that. All right. Now it talks about the appointment of auditor. Who can appoint? Designated partners can appoint, but if designated partners fails to appoint, then the partners can also appoint. Here it is. The partners may appoint the auditors if the designated partner fails to appoint them. And here it's also there are also some time limits that for the first financial year, before the end of first financial year. For the first financial year, the auditor needs to be appointed within the end of financial year. And for the other, that is other than first financial year, that they say that at least 30 days prior to the end of financial year. That is for the first financial year. It says that uh, within the end of they does not they do not tell us about the days, some days here in first financial year. They just tell us that to appoint an auditor within the end of financial year, within the end of first financial year. But for the other than first financial year, they just say that at least 30 days prior to the end of financial year. That is, for example, in the case of 31st March 2020 or 2021 for that matter, then they need to appoint an auditor. Designated partners need to appoint auditor at least before 1st of March, that is 30 days prior to the end of financial year. And if casual vacancy is there, then also designated partner need to fill that vacancy, and to fill the casual vacancy caused by the removal of auditor, the same point. So it was about the auditor, and that the DP shall have to appoint the auditor. DP here means designated partner. All right, and now the LLPs are required to maintain books of accounts which shall contain particulars of all sums of money. I don't expect these types of questions. And the advantages, purpose, and need of audit, I don't think these can come, but just give it a read. This is a common sense question, all right? So you can cover that. And auditor's duty regarding audit of LLP, just do the simple, some few points can be written by common sense, but the few points that improve your answer is about, for example, here that he should read the LLP agreement and note the following provisions about the nature of business of LLP, amount of capital contributed, duration of partnership, drawings allowed to the partners and all. So you can make your answer different from other candidates by writing this provision. And the second point was about the auditors should mention whether the records of the firm appear to be correct and reliable, all the information have been obtained or not, just like section number 143 of the Companies Act. All right. So yes, that's that. And plus, last point was about if partners maintain minute book, he shall refer it for any resolution passed regarding the accounts. So it talks about reviewing the if it talks about referring the it talks about referring the minute book. That's all. All right. So we'll wind up the session here only, and I hope you will like this session. And if you do, just hit the like button and share it with your friends. Let's meet in the next session with another topic, and you can comment any topic if you want me to cover that topic so that I'll cover it. Thank you.